Hello, everyone. My name is Isaac Nuttall, and today I would like to present to you my policy change proposal, a professional Utah state legislature. Currently, Utah state legislators earn a meager $293.55 for each legislative day during the 45-day state legislative session. I propose to change this so that legislators work full time, have more staff members, and are paid an annual salary high enough that they do not need an outside income, as is already the case in Alaska, California, Hawaii, Illinois, Massachusetts, Michigan, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Under my proposal, Utah state legislators would earn a base salary of $90,000 annually, $3,617 higher than the Utah median household income of $86,833. Now, there are a number of logistical changes that would need to go through in order for this plan to be enacted. First, the length of the Utah state legislative session would more than triple. In California, for instance, which is a state that has a professional legislature, their state legislative session in 2024 begins on January 3rd and ends on August 31st, giving California state legislators 536% more time to formulate policy solutions to pressing issues than legislators in the state of Utah. Second, legislators would have more time to engage in activities other than lawmaking. The National Conference on State Legislatures, NCSL, illustrates this, finding that state legislators also spend large amounts of time assisting constituents, studying state issues during the interim, and campaigning for re-election. These activities go on throughout the year, and any assessment of the time requirements for this job should include all of these elements of legislative life. Third, the state of Utah would need to allocate more money to these salary increases. Under my proposal, funding for this pay increase would come from a 2 cent per ounce tax on sugar sweetened beverages, with any leftover funding going to the budget of the Utah Department of Health and Human Services. Department of Health, yes. This change helps Utah state legislators. First, because Utah is growing quickly, and legislators need to be able to stay connected to their constituents. In 2020, the US Census found that Utah was listed as the fastest growing state in the country, making it increasingly difficult for state legislators to adequately represent their constituents. According to a 2020 article published by the Cambridge University Press in the journal State Politics and Policy Quarterly, legislators who know their constituents' opinions are more likely to be successful with providing substantive representation on the issues of the day, and cites previous work which finds that candidates and current incumbents in highly professionalized legislatures are less likely to misestimate constituent opinion. Second, being a state legislator costs a large amount of time and money. This change would significantly reduce these barriers, allowing more people to run for office. According to Deseret News in January of this year, the companies and law firms that employ many part-time lawmakers consider it advantageous to have an employee in such an influential position, and they gladly allow for time off from normal duties during the legislative session. And a 2015 paper from the Bush School of Government and Public Service at A&M University corroborates this, finding that higher professionalization yields greater diversity, with diversity operationally defined as the percentage of female legislators, showing that when you allow more people to move past the financial barriers that currently Utah state legislators face, people of all walks of life can walk into the halls of power. Not only does this change help Utah state legislators, but it also helps everyday Utahns. First, since Utah state legislators would have more time to craft and debate legislation, better policies would come out of the Utah state legislature. According to the American Dental Association, legislation in states with longer sessions tends to move more slowly as legislative bodies have more time to deliberate. According to a 2017 paper from Loyola University Chicago, citizen legislatures copy more language from previous adopters, while more professional legislatures have greater capacity to reinvent diffusing policies for their jurisdictions on the issues of the day, meaning that if we were to enact a professional legislature, there would be less of a copy and paste job when it comes to legislation, where it's like, yeah, we've got a 700-page bill, 600 of it we'll just copy from 2019, and we'll only have just a few lines that actually change. No. We need to have policies that are vibrant and that spearhead the real issues that Utahns face, something that a professional legislature would do. And second, the tax on sugar sweetened beverages that funds this change has a number of health benefits. According to the Utah Choices Project, in a 2019 report prepared in conjunction with the Salt Lake County Health Department, this tax would prevent 19,600 cases of obesity and 2,760 cases of childhood obesity by 2027. The report further projects that the annual revenue of this tax would fall between $127 and $163 million. Now, it's not all sunshine and roses when it comes to a professional legislature. There are also some potential risks. First, having a professional state legislature may increase income inequality in Utah. A 2023 paper from University of Notre Dame finds that capacity, as measured by legislative professionalism, is broadly correlated with improving economies, but also with growing economic inequality. In this way, positive policy outcomes produced by a professional legislature, such as GDP growth or reduced crime, would be diminished by targeted benefits to the upper class that come at the expense of everyone else. One possible reason for this increase in income inequality is that having a professional legislature may reduce individual freedom in Utah. According to a 2014 paper from the Goldwater Institute, states with citizen legislators tend to rank higher on levels of economic and personal freedom. The paper argues that this is because citizen legislators, as opposed to career legislators, avoid legislating in areas that are normally considered private domains and prevent government from expanding unsubstantially. Now, whether or not you think that having a professional state legislature would ultimately help or hurt us, though personally, I believe that the pros vastly outweigh the cons, the reality is that we need to consider how feasible this would be in Utah. And right now, it seems that Utah Republicans will likely oppose this change, at least at first. Because as Speaker Mike Schultz proclaims to a Deseret News KSL editorial board, I think that the Utah Citizen Legislature is what makes Utah unique. I think that that's what keeps us somewhat normal. However, Utah's population growth, which continues to escalate at an exponential pace, will make Utah more of an anomaly compared to other states as its part-time citizen legislature finds it increasingly difficult to adequately represent their growing constituency. So, to create a bipartisan consensus, an effective message should do the following. First, it should highlight that this is a nonpartisan plan to allow Utah state legislators, left or right, to better represent their constituents. Second, it should emphasize that a professional legislature will allow for increased transparency and accountability for elected officials by allowing constituents to more readily contact their representatives, a cherished talking point among Democrats and Republicans alike. Furthermore, it should note that excise taxes, especially on vices like soda, do not draw the same level of partisan contention as increases in other types of taxes such as income or property, bolstering the point that this proposal is nonpartisan at its core. And here you can see the 11 sources I used to create this presentation. Thank you all very much, and support a professional Utah State Legislature.